There's a lot of things to consider when talking about favorite ships in Star Citizen. Some people say it's all about how a ship flies and functions, where others put more stock in the future functions and role that ship may have one day. Or they might be mostly visually invested in the aesthetics of the ship and a ship's overall vibe, rather than even if it can fly at all. With Star Citizen pitched as the game where you'll be able to live your own perfect space life, everyone has favorites for different reasons. Even if it flies like a turd, to some it's the goddamn Millennium Falcon. That's what makes this different from the usual best ship type video, as in this video series I want to discuss the different ships that I personally favor and differing reasons why. The Anvil Valkyrie. While dropships in Star Citizen are mostly not very useful ships in the current state of the game, the Anvil Valkyrie's robust build and utilitarian outfit stands out amongst them as the most usable of the lot, in a package that easily lends itself to be a unique daily driver with plenty of uses in arguably the most streamlined interior out of any multi-crew starship in the game to date. The Valk has a really decent cargo bay that can store a heap of vehicles, a tremendous layout, and one of the most accessible routes from the cockpit down to the cargo and out the exit of any ship in the game. I actually really love the internal layout. From the cockpit, the Valkyrie immediately opens up with its 2 more seats for wing turret gunners, then immediately opens up even more into an open living space. It has its kitchen right next to open bunk beds, turret seat, the ladder down below, and the toilet space, all out in the open view of its balcony over into the hangar. It almost feels like a camp spot with everything just out in the open that you need. And below and behind the closed doors are all the jump seats with gun racks by each seat and a second turret chair for the bottom gun at the back. Well, this stuff is sort of the least usable in the game right now, so I'm just happy that it's out of the way and unseen back here, leaving the rest of it completely open. It's kind of like if you were a fan of the Mercury Star Runner for its hangar and its space being a stage for some good storytelling. The Valk is like the everyday man's Mercury Star Runner. Feels like a good set for a buddy sci-fi action comedy, but sensible about its layout. It cares more about function of form, and that's why it's actually not seen very often in the game due to its in-game and pledge price being too expensive for most compared to most other ships in that price range that have a lot more uses. And the formerly mentioned Mercury Star Runner goes for 8 million Alpha UEC less than the Valkyrie, so people often will buy a different ship before they usually save enough money to even consider picking one of these up. Its open layout with nothing in anyone's way is actually the reason why the Valkyrie is known by many to be the premier rock carrier in Star Citizen. Mining with the rock means a lot of getting in and out over and over and over again, so ideally you want a ship that's both easy to load and unload a vehicle in, and in the shortest amount of travel time be able to go from cockpit into the vehicle and then out as fast as possible. But it's not just for carrying rocks, especially with the new Mirai Pulse hover bikes that you're able to store literally anywhere. You can also fit a medical Ursa in here, making it the only drop ship with a respawnable med bay, so you can use its window-mounted gun turrets without worrying about being shot yourself, since you can just keep respawning back in or launching a ground crew over and over from pulses like a clown car. You can fill the Valk with so many vehicles, so if you're looking for a unique vehicle carrier, the Valk really is a great option. The RSI Scorpius. The Scorpius is nothing if not a pretty ship. This ship, I feel, is when CIG really figured out the RSI look and design, and it's taken that sharp angles and fierce and almost shark-like lines into a lot of the RSI ships that we're seeing being newly concepted now, and even changes like the Polaris seem to have been taking inspiration from some of the design choices that were initially found in the Scorpius. The Scorpius, of course, also gets just many cool points purely for its transformation into its X-Wing mode. And it's plenty deadly too, with 4 pilot controlled size 3 weapons and another 4 on back. If you've got a friend with you, it's simple and to the point with how it can be useful. This thing, with the right pilot, is a true damage dealer, which, if manned with someone in its turret, is something everyone hopes to avoid coming after them in the verse. Not only is it effective in flight, it's also got some lovely built-in gun racks and internal storage bins, making it useful out of just dogfighting in space, with amenities to aid in any potential ground operations with. And since it's still such a new ship, its internal and external elements feel very polished and just give a higher quality immersive experience compared to almost all other fighters in game. I'd say my only complaint would be really that it is a fighter, so that means its quantum fuel capacity really keeps it locked to just one planet system at a time without needing to make many fuel stops just to make it across the verse, taking it out of my running for being considered as a good potential daily driver. As for personally, that's in my non-negotiables list, a daily driver that has to be able to get me across the system and back without needing to constantly stop out of gas, because I'm very ADHD as a player, so I get distracted and back and forth the verse constantly. I can't be wasting my time filling the ship up with gas only to get distracted by everything else that I come across. So, but if I know I'm just grinding rep for a specific faction in one planet, which has its missions close by, like Hurston or Microtech, where you're largely never leaving the main planet, and if you are, it's never a very far jump, then sometimes I will take the Scorpius out. For such a heavy ship, once you've landed it with its wings pulled in, it's actually a very unassuming profile, so I feel like it doesn't get griefed as much as something like a Cutlass or an Avenger Titan might be when left unattended for too long, like outside of a bunker. The Drake Cutlass Red. With respawning now available with any medical beds, there's a lot of people looking for ships that can either just fit Ursa Medevac or Pisces Medical in it, with people not able to get any in a Cutlass Black, but the Cutlass Red already has 2 beds to respawn in built into it now, and with that area now usable, you can still load the area with pulses to use as snubs, which, let me tell you, feel quite satisfying launching and returning through little side airlocks, let me just say. This makes the back cargo area seem a lot larger now, since the best you could fit previously was a rock, I think. But you can't fit both a rock and a medical Ursa or a fleet of pulse hover bikes in a Cutlass Black's cargo hold, let me tell you that. You also get 2 extra bunk beds in the back for crew bed logging if that becomes the thing again, or for people to just use as seats that don't fall over during jumps all the time. Truly finally making the Cutty Red the new Cutty Black killer. The only negative thing about flying the Cutty Red now though is, while its flashing emergency lights might look cool and could be well intended, now that people know that you can respawn in med beds, the more likely they are to kill on sight when they come across you, to immediately stop the ability for you to be able to come back. When they see your ship unattended, they're largely, it's a tactical and easy to grief move to do. So if they see the Cutlass Red there with its big rescue on the side and flashing lights and all colored in red, there's a good chance that it's going to take you out immediately. So one tip I do have is, if you can pick up, you can get some skins in the game, and you can get a nice green one like this, which will go over all that bright Larry red. But as long as you keep the lights off, it will still say rescue on the sides, but it'll usually, you can see it's kind of just etched into here, but it's still all green. So either way, it's a lot less assuming than the Cutty's red appearance. And yeah, as long as you keep the lights off, you should be a lot more visually hidden from them, at least in the short term anyway. The Anvil F8C Lightning. Now, I got told off by commenters last time for recommending the Anvil F8C Lightning in a best daily driver video, since it's not one that you can earn in-game by any legal means, and so not only that, also a cash-only ship at the moment, but Also only available for limited times where you need to have discovered a golden ticket in the game to even have the right to buy one. So it is very hard to get a hold of normally, but I must restate, these videos aren't unbiased. In fact, they're very biased. And look, I have an F8C and I do like it a lot. It's got a mixture of the strong, hardy elements like the Anvil Valkyrie had in its design, but a lot of the sharp lines that I appreciate of the new RSI designs, like with Scorpius I mentioned earlier. All that coupled with the fact that it has a killer loadout of 4 size 3s and 4 size 2 pilot controlled weapon hardpoints, 2 size 2 shields, and a monster QT tank that allows the fastest drive to be usable without running out of gas halfway through a mission. The F8C gives me more power, shielding, range, and hard as hell looks than the Scorpius ever could piloted alone, and has been my main daily driver when I don't need it to do anything with cargo, since it's consistently, since I first got it, it chews through pretty much any ship, and even when people report it on getting nerfs, it's still so damn overpowered that it still doesn't even matter when it outclasses so many other ships in so many areas with ease. I fly it just because it's a pleasure to fly, and because I know I'll be prepared in case any funny business might go down. In fact, if you left it unattended, you might even just scare people off who are flying worse ships, fearing that if you managed to get back into the cockpit, there'd be no escape for them, still leading to a less overall vandalism while on foot or on mission. I guess you could say it kind of feels like you own a Hummer. People would be too terrified to mess with it, fearing the owner might see them. The Banu Defender. The Galaxian is the alien starter ship. They should make it so that the Banu Defender is the new alien starter ship. It has such a cool, organically grown alien ship feel with a super simple to board and access living space with these dual cockpits, which can be piloted from both. Who said you're supposed to pilot solo or from the left or the right? No such preconceptions in the Banu design, with the ship being a mirror image down the center looking like a dang crab. It may look funny, but there's nothing funny about its stats. While it's still considered a light fighter, it comes with a size 2 shield and 4 size 3 weapon points, making it a formidable opponent, and a quantum fuel tank that gives it good enough range, making it a considerable choice as a daily driver, which it has done on previous daily driver lists of mine. It's also one of the few ships with a custom quantum travel animation. It's very pretty. You can also get out and open the front hatch to kind of get a good view going straight forwards of it too. Pretty trippy. Let's see if I can get a good shot here. See? This ship is just unique. It also has really great flight sounds, and when it takes damage, the ship bleeds rather than go on fire. See if I can go down further this ramp into the attractive green. Oh! Well, yeah, it's just a good ship that you don't always see too often, and as far as its vulnerability when parked unmanned, I'd say it would be safer than most other ships for multiple reasons. One being that people might know it has no cargo space on board, so there's likely nothing that good inside of it. And second, you might get a respect pass and people won't bother you because they respect the ship choice. It sounds weird, but it's real, trust me. Some ships draw the wrong kind of attention, and the Defender isn't it. Alright, well, those are my first picks for my favorite ships in Star Citizen and why. I put a part 1 on this video because there were just so many different favorite ships that I wanted to go through that I'm like, alright, I don't have time in a single video. So I'll name part 1 because I'm definitely coming back to do it again. Alright, well, like and subscribe if you enjoyed that. Comment down below if you want to talk about your own favorite ships or ones I should cover next time. And my name's Dead Leader, and I'll catch you out there in the verse. デッドリーダー